I hope my screen is visible and I am audible. Fine. Okay. Okay, guys. So, guys, if you remember in the last session, what we discussed majorly about your classes, your objects, and your memory allocations. Okay. So, just to give you a refresher, what all things we discussed that, when we have a class, okay, and what is basically a class. So, class is something, a blueprint, or we can consider it as a template for creating your multiple objects out of it. Okay. Like one such class that we discussed was a user class that consists of your three things. It consists of your name, that was basically an interview question that I discussed with you, an age, city, name. Fine. And when we create multiple objects out of it, like u1, u2, u3, and assign some values to it, we can directly print all those values in this format. Okay. Now, next thing we discussed that all these variables. So as soon as we create one object, a copy of all these variables, all these properties will be given to every object in the heap. Okay. So I told you that there are basically two memory spaces inside the RAM. That one we have is a heap. Second we have is a what stack. So heap memory is basically where all my objects will be stored. Okay, that I have already told you that as soon as I am creating this object, this new user object. So new user is basically an object. U1 is the object reference name or object reference variable. So new user will be assigned to heap. Fine. Okay. And as soon as my one object is created, so all the properties, all the copy of this properties by default will be given to my this one of the object. Secondly, as soon as I am creating this new user second object, so it will be again assigned to my heap, and that will be referred by what? Your u2. Okay. And again, the similar copy or the photocopy of this properties will be given to u2 and similarly to u3. Fine. So this I all discussed up with you. Fine. Now I told you to practice one of the thing at your end. What was that? That if I am trying to give, so right now you can see I am assigning u2 values to u1, okay, u3 to u2, and u1 to u3. So I told you how this will actually make the changes and how the references are going to change from one object to another. Fine. Now I told you to do what? Just let me,
Hello,
guys, mute yourself.
hello.
Whosoever is, can you mute yourself? Okay. So I told you that you to practice u1, u2, u3, u4, take four objects out of it and just try to what? Do assignment operator equal to u1 is equals to u2 is equals to u3 and u4. So I'll just tell you how this can be done. So I'll just create what one more object for you, and then we will you know move on our further topic. So let us just try to create one more object, that is u4. Similarly, we have a u4 here and u4 here. Age I am giving what? So let me just try to create a new user object for this u4 also. Okay, fine. And u4. Okay, and I am giving money. Age is 27 and belongs from what? Let it be Pune. Fine. Now I told you that these are the questions that the interview basically asks when u2 values are being assigned to u1, or I am saying that u1 is making the connection and it is being referred to u2. Now understand the case. So let it be like this. Right now I'll just try to print all the values, okay, with the 4 also, u4 also, and then we will see one of the important thing. Okay, so all these things are going to print the respective values of the objects for me. Can you see this? Manish, Naman, Geeta, and Mani, all these things from the different locations, all these values are printed from the different objects. Fine. Now the question is, if I'm saying what, u1 is equals to u2 is equals to u3 is equals to u4, okay, then again I want to print all the values. What should be the response in this case? I told you to do this at your home, but that's fine. I just want to discuss it with you. This is an important concept. So guys, understand how the values will now be assigned here. See, understand here. See, first of all, check it from the right hand side that all the values of the u4 are being assigned to u3, or in a layman term I am saying that u3, you break the connection, your current connection, and start pointing to u4. Fine. Okay. Now in this line what I am saying, that u3 you assign all the values to u2, or u2 you break the current connection and start pointing to u3 wherever u3 is pointing to. Okay. And in this line what I'm saying, that u2 now you assign your values to u1, or u1 you break the current connection whatever you are assigning to, and you start referring to where u2 is referring. And where u2 is referring, it is referring to u3. And where u3 is referring, it is referring to u4. So that means, guys, all the three U1, U2, U3 now start pointing to where? Huh? Directly to U4 only. Why? Because see, it is said that U3 you break the connection from your current location and start pointing to U4. Okay. And U2 you break your current connection and start pointing to U3, wherever U3 is pointing. And my current location or current reference U3 is what? U4 only. So all the objects will start pointing to one location, that is U4. Let me just see what the response I am getting. Can you see this, guys? All the after this U1 is equals to U2, U3, U4, I'm getting all the references are being pointing to only one single object. And that's why I'm getting the values of this U4 only. Okay. So in this way, guys, you can just do practice a lot of things at your end, assigning all these values and, just try to hit and try and practice it at your end. Okay. Fine. I hope this was a concept clear to you now again. Fine. Now, what I'll do, I'll just create a one more class for you right now. Important thing coming for today also. That is a car class. Okay. I'm just, I have just created a car class, and this car class consists of a method. What? It is a main method. Fine. Today we'll discuss few more important interview questions that are being asked directly. Okay. From the different experience range. Okay. Now, so now we know that this car is a class or a blueprint or a template that I have created. But for a template, we need some properties also. Okay, for a car. So what can you consider? What can you think it of? What different properties a car can have? A car can have a name, means uh, it can be an Audi car, BMW, some sort of Honda City, any car it is there. And second thing, what? It can have some wheels. Fine. Like obviously it can have wheels, four wheel, five wheel, whatever it is there. Another thing, what can we have? We can have your vehicle number. Fine. Obviously vehicle number or chassis number or your engine number can be anything like this. So this vehicle number is what? It is an alphanumeric way. Fine. Then what is the price of a car? I can have different cars with different prices also. And what again? We can have some model also. Like it is, Audi AU A1 or what. So we can have all these properties for a particular class. There's multiple properties can be there, but for time being, let us just consider these things. A car can have a name. It have few wheels. Fine. That is an int variable. It is a vehicle number, alphanumeric way, and it has some price, obviously, and a model name. Okay. These are the properties. So now we know wherever all these properties are going to go, guys. Huh? To my heap or to my stack? Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll try to side by side create what? A memory diagram also, because see, this is very, very important, guys. Memory allocations and all these things are really being asked in every interview, every interview. Okay, so I'll just divide it into two. What are these? We have what? Your mm, your heap is there, fine. And then what we have? We have stack is there. Fine. I'll just try to stack. Okay, we have a stack, we have a heap. Fine. So these are the two memories. Now, all these variables, these are assigned at the class level where it will be going. It will be going to all the objects. But now I have not created any sort of objects. So obviously it won't be going anywhere. Now, let us just see what I'm trying to do. Let us try to create multiple objects for this particular car class. How to create an object? I have told you with the help of a new keyword. Fine. So car C1 is equals to new car. Okay. It created one of the object for me. And the reference variable is car C1. Now, let me just try to assign some name to it. Let it be Audi for one of the car. And second one, I'm trying to say that it has wheels. What? How many wheels? Obviously four. Then I'm saying that it has a vehicle number. Vehicle number is what? It is an alphanumeric code. 1, 2, 3, and what? I can take something, some sort of this thing, right? And rest what? I am saying some price. So let it be in some range. It is 40 lakhs. And one more thing, that is your model. So I am saying that it is an string value. It is an Audi A6 or whatever it is this. Fine. This is another object I created. Now let me just try to create few more objects for it. And then we will reach to a important conclusion. With different objects, obviously I cannot have C1 again. I created C1. Let us just try to create C2, 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 Okay, and let us just try to give a different name to this particular car. Let it be Honda City, a Honda level car. Okay, and it has obviously four wheels. Now I'm just saying EFG values some ride, and it is has some cost of 20 lakhs, and it is what, a Honda Civic, I can say. Fine. Oh, okay, yeah. Then we have another different car, which is a C3. C3 dot name, C3, C3, C3. Okay, fine. And this I'm considering as a BMW car. Obviously four wheels. Now PQR, I can take some chassis number, and it is around 60 lakhs, and the model can be what, anything. Huh? Let us consider it as an X1. So let us just try to take three only. Okay, I'll just delete this out. Let us just try to consider a case where we have three cars. Okay, so now first of all, understand this, guys. As soon as I am creating what, as soon as I am creating this particular C1 reference variable, so C1 will be going where? It will be actually referring to this new car, and new car, this is the object that will be created here. So this is one of the object that is created for me. This is one of the object. Okay, one of the object created. Then again I have one more object created, that is for C2, and I have again one more object created, that is for C3. Now what will happen? All these values, the photocopy of all these values will be assigned to where? It will be assigned to this thing. It will be assigned to here for this particular thing. Fine. Similarly, it will be assigned to my hair also. I'm just giving you a high level picture. Okay. And similarly, it will be assigned to my all these things here also. Okay. So all the values of photocopy of all these variables will be assigned to my every object. And one of the object is what? Your C1. So C1 is the object that is being referring to where? It is referring to your this one. Okay. Then again, what we have? We have basically a C2, and it is referring, and this is and one more object that I am having a reference C3, and C2 is referring to this particular. Fine, and C3 is referring to this one. Perfect. So these things I know. Now heap is being assigned, and stack is also there. So stack consists of all your reference variables, object reference variables, and heap consists of all your objects. Along with photocopy of all these variables will be given to every object. Perfect. That is fine. Now all these values will now be assigned to this object one. Secondly, all these values of Honda will be assigned to second, and all these values of this BMW will be assigned to three. Okay, that is now what I know now. Okay. Now, can you tell me one thing, guys? If I'm just trying to what print all these values, I'll just try to print. What can I print? Or what I'll do? Can I try to print this thing? Huh? Will this print entirely everything C1? See this. Can you see this? What it is printing? If I'm trying to print the reference variable name only, so it is going to print some garbage value or some memory address of this particular C1. So C1 is the place where some memory address, obviously it will be there for C1. So this is by default a wrong way to actually print all the values of the C1. How should we print? We should actually print with the help of this thing C1 dot name, and with a space we can say that C1 dot what wheels, and if we want to print some more values, then C1 dot something, obviously. Okay, let's just price. So I'm just trying to print for all the three things. Okay, C1, C2, C3, and so few properties I just printed out of what all things I have assigned. Now let's just see what is going to print for me. So perfect, I am getting Audi, Honda, and BMW. Now, understand one thing. What is the issue here? Everything's perfect. All the assignments, all the variables, and everything's perfect for me. But now, can you tell me what is the issue here, guys? Hmm? What is the common property here that I have given right now? Is that a name? Is the name common? Is the vehicle number, price, model, anything is common? What is the common property here? It is the wheels. Okay. So there is an issue in the code that if you have a common property, fine. So why to assign at the global level, or why to assign at class level? Means if you are assigning it with the other properties with the non-static properties. So what will happen every time an object is created, all these properties by default wheels will be given to here also, here also, and here also. And in the memory, it will be utilizing some what memory space. So I told you in the first class that int is allocating how much memory? 4 bytes of the memory. Hmm? So unintentionally, actually, I am trying to store this wheels multiple times, even though I know that wheels is the common property for all the cars. No, it doesn't matter millions of cars or billions of cars, I am going to print it, okay, or I am going to create an object for it. Every time the wheels will remain same for me. It cannot be something like that wheel can be 5, huh? Can that be the case? So no matter how many times of values I am going to print or how many objects I am created, wheels is the common property that should remain what same and common for all the objects. So this is basically a default a bug in our code. How to correct it now? That I don't want to utilize my memory for every time an object is created for this particular wheel, and I want to also assign this in this somewhere. Hmm? How can we do this? Is there any way? Okay. So now I am introducing a term that is known as your static. Now, what is static, guys? So static is something that will make your values common to all the objects. So even 100 objects, thousands objects, actually you are creating for this particular car class, this property won't be assigned or won't be duplicated at object level. Means I told you that a photocopy of all these variables will be given to all the objects, but except this. So objects does not hold the static properties. Object cannot hold the static variables. That means except this static int wheels, all the properties name, vehicle number, price, and model will be given. A photocopy of all these variables will be given to here C1, C2, and C3 except your what wheels. Why is that so? Because that is deliberately I am making it because I don't want to waste the memory space of a particular object. Hmm? Fine. So now the question is where this static property is going to be stored. So now I know these all are the non-static properties. Perfect. These are string, and since I don't have any static keyword written in front of them, these I know these are the non-static properties, and non-static variables are now going to go at the object level. But where is the position of this static variables that is going to go? Hmm? Any idea? This is an interview question that people ask, that where are our static variables or the properties are going to be stored. So it is neither going to be stored inside the heap nor it is going to be stored inside the stack. Okay, but for the stack this static properties we have a separate location. This is what you're called as, I'll tell you. So this is where your things are going to be stored. Your this static int variable is going to be stored here, huh? So what is this called as? This is called as your what? Any idea? CMA, or we can call it as common memory allocation, or we can call it as what? Permanent generation, or we can call it as meta space. This is very important question, guys. From all experienced people, this is being asked, that where are the static properties being stored. So make it clear, make memorize that these are never stored inside your heap memory nor stored inside the stack memory, but they have a separate common memory allocation that is being given to them, and it is inside the CMA or permanent generation or the meta space called as. Okay, so inside that a single static wheels property will be stored that will be common for all the objects. So that means now in this entire memory, only 4 byte of the memory space will be occupied, and not the 4 byte at every object. Haven't we solved a bug? Hmm? We have utilized some memory also. So this is how, guys, coding is being done. Whenever you are writing the automation framework, you have to keep in mind clear that what all things or what all properties you have to assign with the static, and what all things you have to assign it with the what non-static properties. So make sure whenever you have things that are common to all the objects that you are going to create, no need to make it as non-static. Always create a static property out of it. Okay. So now since wheel is a common property for all the objects, that's why we have created only a single copy. only a single copy of this object of this property will be created for all the static variables, and that will be stored in the CMA. Okay, in the CMA space or a common memory allocation or a meta space. Fine. So after JDK 1.8, this is called as a meta space. Earlier it was called as a permanent generation, or we can call it as a CMA. This is very, very important interview question. Now, tell me one thing. As soon as I made the changes here, okay, just see here. Can you see this? Some yellow lines warnings are being now shown to me. Why? Why? What is saying? Just see this. The static field car dot wheels should be accessed in a static way. What it is saying? That you cannot actually access this wheels property with the help of your reference variable. Why? What is the error? What is the logic behind this? See, understand. Can you now understand that since I am not assigning this particular static wheel property to this particular object, how can you access this via C1? Hmm? This is not being a part of this object now. Neither it is a part of object C2, nor it is part of an object C3. That's why it is giving me a warning that you cannot access it in a static way. You should have a different way to actually access it. Fine. What are the way for that accessing that property? This is also a different interview question. Now, I'll be discussing with you now this thing. Okay. Now, we know, we understand what? We understand now that all the non-static properties are being going where? In the heap. To all the objects, a photocopy of all the non-static properties will be given to all the objects. Static properties will now be going where? In my common memory allocation. Okay. Okay. Now, the question is how to access these static variables. How can I actually, this is also very important interview question, how to access static uh, properties. Because see, this thing you will understand more clear when we will be doing the Selenium coding and all these things. Then at time you will understand that why it is always recommended to have a common property. Fine. Now, how can I actually access that wheels property? Hmm? One of the way is, guys, directly. How directly? Now, see this. I don't want to take the help of any reference variable for printing any values. I just want to print the wheels directly. Can I do this? Yes, I can do this. Now check this out. See this 4. Fine. Because I don't need any object reference variable to actually access this property. Also, I don't have any what? A way to access it because it does not it is not present inside my object. So one of the ways access it directly. Okay? You can do it now. Now, tell me one thing. Can I access your this name property or vehicle name property or price property directly? Can you? I'll just show you. Can you do this? Huh? See this. What is an error I am getting? Cannot make a static reference to the non-static field name. That is why it is very clear that if you have a static field, property, variable, or a method that I'll be telling you, somewhat later. But for now, understand if you have a static property, then it can be accessed only directly and not your non-static property. So for non-static properties, you have to use your what? Some reference variable, either C1, C2, or C3. Anything you can do. Okay? This is an issue that you cannot directly access the non-static properties. Okay. What is a different way? What is another way that I am talking about for accessing this non-static static properties? This is very important. Now you can actually access all these static properties with the help of your class name. You need not to create an object for that and then access it. Just directly do what? Car is the class for you. Dot wheels. Will this work? See this? No error, no warning. Perfect. So I can now actually access my all the static properties. Either it will be methods if I am having some static methods. If I am having some static properties, variables that can be directly accessed with the help of your two ways, either directly print it or directly access it with the help of your class name. Perfect. So this is the best practice that people actually use with the help of your class name and not even with the help of your what? Your object name. Now, again, the question is, can I access the name property also with the help of your class name? Can I do that? See this? What is an error? Cannot make a static reference again to the non-static field. So It is now very much clear to me that I cannot access non-static properties either directly or with the help of the class name. Only one way is there for accessing the non-static properties, and that is your what? With the help of your object reference variable. That's why you have to create every time an object of a class to access your all the non-static properties. And for accessing your static properties, you can just directly access it or with the help of your class name. Perfect. Now, what is the third way, guys? With the help of your object reference variable, never recommended. Can you see this? I have already shown you this thing. But let's just try to print this again to show that can we directly access it, access your properties, what? With the help of your uh, object reference variables name also. Yes, we can actually access it, but this is never recommended. Never recommended. Why? See this. This is C1. I don't have any property here directly. So what it is happening that C1 is now going in this way. C1 will now be going. Just a second. How do I see? You C1 is indirectly going from the stack to access this particular views property. That is never recommend. So always make sure that you have two ways only to access the static properties, that is with the help of your class name, or if you want to directly access your properties. Fine, that is fine. It is clear for all. Okay. Non-static properties, create an object with the help of your object reference variable, access your properties, methods, whatever you want to do. But once you see a static property, your variable name, your method name, anything, you cannot create an object and you cannot access them with the help of that. Okay. Now, one such example, real-time example I want to give you. Can you see some web page you have seen, Amazon web page, you can actually visualize this. So can you give me some example that this is the static property in that particular web page? Have you seen the footers? So any of the page you go, either on the login page, register page, add to cart page, every time the footer remains same. If it is there 15 or 20, it will remain same, obviously. That means that is an static property. What about the search bar? If you are searching a particular product and if you are adding it to cart, and on that add to cart page also you are able to find a search bar, will this remain same? That can also be in a static property. Rest what? You can have some headers also or some menu items that remains always static at whichever page you want to go on the Amazon. So these are examples of static properties that remains static, that remains common and constant. Fine. Now, are there any rules for these static properties? Yes, they are, because all these things are purely taken out from your interview questions, and these are being asked every time. These are very conceptual questions. So are there any rules for static variables? Do we have? Yes, we have. What are these? First of all, try to see. Now, I haven't told you there are how many types of variables we have. Do you know? So we have majorly two types of variables. What are these? Global and local variables. Perfect. We have all these things. Correct. We have this one. Hai na? What are global variables? Or sometimes you have heard a term class variables or class level variables. So understand, all the variables that are being assigned inside this class before the method, okay, these becomes your class variables. But specifically, when you see a word static, so these are your class variables, which are actually called as class variables, static variables. If you'll see in very good books and all these coding books, you will understand these static properties assigned at the class level, these are known as the class variables. Then what are these called as? So first of all, these name, vehicle name, price and models, these are what? Non-static. Okay. Rest what we can call them? These are also the class variables, but specifically term, if you want to give, these are the instance variables. Why? Because see, these variables are being assigned to the instance of a class. Instance is what? To the reference variable or to an object. So this is what I am doing. Actually, I am instantiating a class. Another term of creating an object. This is what? Instantiating a class or starting a class. You can consider it a layman term. So That's why it is called as instance variables. Okay, all the non-static variables are called as instance variables specifically. Okay, along with that, all these variables are, guys, a global variables. They comes under the category of a global variable, which are being assigned at the class level. Consist of two things. What? Your static, non-static. Static variables are your class variables specifically, and non-static variables will go inside your what category of instance variables. Huh? Another thing, non-static variables will go inside your heap that we know for all the objects. Static variable will go inside my common memory allocation. That is also now I know. Now, what are local variables? So, this is basically a method for me, a main method. Now, if I create some variable like int is equals to 10 here, so this becomes a local variable for me. Okay? Why it is local variable? Because it is local to this particular method, a main method, or any method that I am going to create. So I cannot access this actually local variable outside my this particular method. If I have created this particular variable inside this local inside this method, I have to use it, access it inside this main method only. This is called as what? Local variable. These are very small things, guys, conceptual things, but people don't know. Just do a mistake. They call it anything with any name. Okay. Now the question is, this is not the question. The question is where all these things will now be going. Hmm? Tell me where local variables will be going. Huh? So guys, now understand this local variable that I have created for you. It'll be going inside my what? Your stack memory. So local variables will be going inside my stack memory. Class variables or global variables will be going inside my heap memory. And if I have some static values, static properties, static variable, that will be going inside my a common memory allocation or a permanent generation or a meta space. These are three different things. Fine. Non-static properties will be going inside my object. Fine. Right now, I have not told about you methods, where methods will be going. Huh? I'll be telling you. Huh? Don't worry, I'll be telling you that part, but let's go slowly. Now, one more important thing. Can we have a static variables as a local variables? Can we have that? See this? If I'm just assigning a term static to it, can you see this? Can we have this variable as a local variable? What it is saying? The value of local variable is not used. That is fine. But illegal modifier for parameter I, only final is permitted. This is saying that you cannot have the static properties as a local variable. You cannot have a static local variable. Why? Because that is being assigned at the class level. Fine. I told you it is being assigned at the class level at only CMA it is being assigned to. So local methods, local level, you cannot assign. This is a wrong approach. So this is one of the rule that you cannot have your local variables as an static variables. Okay? You can have it at the global level. Now, another thing? Huh? Any other thing? Okay. So this is the rule. Static variables has to be global or at class level. No locals allowed. Fine. Okay, cool. Now, can you tell me? I have sorted some issue that I have actually what assigned this particular wheels as an static wheel that I am actually sorted the memory issue that one of the issue is resolved for me. But can you now tell me that still there is an issue that I know that I can actually access my wheels property with the help of my class name or my what object reference name also. So what if someone deliberately mischievously did one of the thing, and that is what? See this. If someone did like c1 dot wheels is equals to 6. Okay, it deliberately make the values what? 6. Obviously it is going to cost you in the production. So if I'm just trying to again print this values, okay, just see what the change it will make. So you have a demand from your client that only for 4 wheels it will be paying 10,000 per hours, and suddenly you make your code wheels equals to 6. Isn't it going to make you a lot of lose money? Hmm? Now can you tell me what is the issue I'm getting? Uh, just a second. Let me just try to Can you tell me, guys? Earlier it was what? Audi 440, Honda 420, BMW 460, but now what? Audi 6, suddenly it is, the wheels have been changed. Huh? Honda and BMW, all the wheels have been changed. It is going to cost a lot of efforts, your money in the production, just because you have not done a coding well. You have assigned a proper static variable to this particular wheels, but still there is a bug that I have already told you. This is the bug that someone can actually modify this value. Huh? So what is the way I can actually restrict it? Now this is the next concept. So now we will be bringing up what? A keyword is there, which is known as a final keyword. Hmm? Here we can now actually change the value of the number of tires of the wheels. Perfect. And then print the same. Fine, that I'm getting. But can I assign it with the help of a final here? Huh? Final. What is saying? Okay, that is fine. Let it be. Now I'm trying to solve one of the issue that I don't want any of the coder, any of the tester to actually make a change in my code and make the value of this your wheels go from 4 to 6. Perfect. So for that case, I have to use a final keyword to actually restrict my variables or the properties to get changed. What is the meaning of final? With the final keyword, if I am assigning it to a variable, it means I am making that particular value or the variable as a constant. I really don't want to make it get it changed anytime in the production. Huh? That is why I have to actually assign this particular value. Now, what is the issue I'm getting? It is saying that if you are assigning some value, then obviously I cannot change the default value. You have to give me some value. What values you want? So actually, if I'm just defining a term as a static, along with final, I have to give a default value. What value of wheels I want? I want it 4, 5, 6, whatever it is fine for you, but assign it somewhere at the global level. Now, can you see all the warnings are gone? Hmm? And now the new warnings are there. Not the warnings, but the errors. Can you see this? The static field, first of all, should be accessed in a static way. That is fine. We know the final field cannot be assigned. That is saying that you cannot now change the value of this fields. Why? Because you have already make it to a final. Okay. Now you cannot make the changes inside your code. That is how I have now prevented this particular bug. Huh? That I now cannot make a changes to this particular thing. Fine. Obviously, I can access it. Okay. For fetching the values and all these things, I can access it, but I cannot make a change to it. Now, can you just see this? What is the value now? I'm going to print it. See this. I'll just also going this particular thing. Now, see this. What is the value it is going to print? Every time 4. Huh? Any change? Am I able to make? No, nothing change. I cannot even do that. That is why final is a word that is really, really helpful. I'll be telling you two more properties of final. One of the properties is that final, if it is assigned before a variable, it will make the variable constant. The value of that variable is a constant. I cannot change it anywhere. Second and the third use case of final, I'll be telling you in the cases when I'll be working on inheritance part and your what method overriding things. So at the time also we will be introducing this word final, but for now try to understand that if it is assigned before a variable name, it is going to make your your variable value constant. Okay. Now, is there any change in the memory allocation? Like, are there any ways like final are being assigned to? No, it is final has nothing to do with your memory location. Okay, it will be assigned at the static level only if it is being assigned at the static level. Now, can I make non-static fields also final? Huh? Yeah, I can do that. It's up to me only, guys. See, it's up to me. But in this case, what is the issue? That the final int value will be given to all the objects that I really don't want. I want to save the memory also. I don't want it to be assigned to all the objects because obviously I have some common properties. So why not to assign it with the static thing? Okay. So this is the best coding practice that one needs to follow. Fine. I hope you are clear. Huh? Multiple things I have made you clear. Now, what I'll do, I'll just try to create, so many things in this class only. I'll just try to create a final concept class. Final concept with some main method. Perfect. Okay. Now, what is in this thing? What I'm trying to say? Now, there are some rules also for this final keyword. What? First of all, final variable can be declared at the instance level that I have already shown you how. In this way, final some int what I is equals to 10. Obviously, I have to assign some value. I have told you that final can be assigned with the static, with the non-static. Okay? It can be assigned at the global level. Can it be assigned at the local level now? Hmm? So I know that final can be assigned at global level with the non-static properties also, and with your what static properties also. Just giving an example, I'm saying string name is what your NL tech. That is fine. Okay. Now I've given one property with a static final and one property with a non-static final. Perfect. At the class level, at the global level, can I make it? Can I use the word final inside my local method? Because I cannot use the word static in my local level. But can I use the word final variables? Can we declare final variables at my local level also? Hmm? Let us just see. So I have a main method. This is also my method. I can, try this in any of the method, in a local method or in a main method. So let us just try to have this final. And I am saying that in a week, you have how many days? Huh? This is in days are what? Like 7 days only? Perfect. Yes, that means I can assign my local variables also final. So what is the use case of this, guys? See, understand. Let's suppose I have to find out the salary of all the employees or all the workers working in your company on the weekly basis. Okay. So that means obviously it is a weekly basis. I cannot change the value of the week. I have 7 days, and on the basis of days only, I want to assign some what salary to that person. So let's suppose if I am giving some salary, and this is the int salary I have taken, and I have said what that I have a 7 days. Okay. So what I want to say that I want to print all the salary that I want to print. First of all, see what it is saying. Okay, we have to obviously give some salary, correct? It cannot just say, if I'm just saying a 10 or 1,000 is a salary per day, and how much it will become in a week, in a 7 days, guys? Just a second, see this. It becomes 7,000. Perfect, it's saying. Now, someone says that now I want to bring a bug in your code. How is that bug? I want to make the days as 10 and then just try to print the values for me. I want the salary of the 10 days. Can you see this? Is Java is allowing you this thing? The final local variable days cannot be assigned. It must be blank and not using any compound assignment. That means that made sure that you cannot actually reinitialize the value of this final. Once it is made constant with some variable value assigned, it is made constant for all the code that you are going to do. Fine. That is the use case of final. So final can be assigned at the global level with the non-static properties, with the static properties. Final can be assigned at the local level, local method level with your what? Can I assign with the static property? See this? No, I cannot. Why? Because I've already told you guys, see, static cannot be assigned at the local level. Static is being assigned and called at the class level only. That's why static, I cannot have the final static thing in my local methods. Okay? So final variables, values can be assigned to the local level, but without static. Fine. Now, this is it from the final end. Okay, final concept. So we have understand multiple things: final keyword, static keyword, memory allocation for all your things. Fine. Now let us just try to create what separate package. Let us just try to create, guys, and we will be working on now some functions and methods, because that is really important. And you will be working on what all these methods part from now on. Whatever coding you do, whatever frameworks you will be writing, methods are the very important part of a particular class. If you know, even if you don't know, there are several different concepts that I am going to clear it right now for you. Okay. Now let us just try to create what some, I'm just saying functions concept. Fine. Okay, functions concept. I've created a package, and inside this particular package I'm creating a class also, because I have to work with the classes. Okay. I'm just creating an employee class again. Okay. And finishing it, and I'm having a main method. Perfect. Okay, fine. This is fine. Now what I want in this thing. Now, first of all, tell me what are methods or what are the functions. So, understand in a very layman and visualize, try to visualize it. That methods are what? This is a method for you. This is a main method for you. This is a main method. This is actually the starting point or the execution point of any program in a Java. Why it is there? This is also an interview question. I'll tell you, in after 10 minutes. why a static method is main, or what is why is the execution point is starting from here. But what are methods? So methods are basically the building blocks of a particular class. Why is that so? Whatever programs you want to write, obviously you cannot directly write inside a class. You need to have some methods, or these are the basic building blocks. You assign some variables, you assign some raw material to that basic building blocks. These are going to manufacture a building for you, a simple layman term. So methods are something that is going to build some constructive output for you. How? So let us just consider a case of calculator only. If you have created a method, a add method, that is also a method, but that is giving you some output. Like what? If some user is trying to give some two inputs like 10 and 20 to that add function that you have created, what output it is going to give you? A plus B, 10 plus 20, it is going to give you 30. So that is how a method is going to give you some output. It is going to work for you. That is some code level logic or some business logic actually you are writing inside the method. And these are, that's why called as the basic building blocks of a particular class. Okay? So methods perform some task for you, whatever you want to assign it to you, according to your business logic that you have based on your clients and based upon your requirement. Now, can we create what? One more method inside this main method? Public, I'm just saying public void and what? Some test method. Can we create this? See this? Huh? What it is saying? Cannot create. So first of all, the rule is that you can only have one method, but parallelly you can have multiple methods, but you cannot have a nested method. So method inside the method is not allowed. Fine, we cannot create a function inside the functions. So functions are always created at the class level. Fine. Now, what are the different types of functions? And what are the different types of methods? That is an important concept now. Types of methods or functions. Huh? There are 4 different types of methods or a function based upon what input you are giving and what output it is giving to you. What are these? So first, let's just try to understand. No input, no return type. Okay? So what is the meaning? Let me just try to make you understand. First of all, to create a method, what we need a modifier. What are modifiers and all these things? I'll try to explain to you in the later advanced chapter. Just for this, try to understand that public is the access modifier that we use for all the methods to actually access it from anywhere outside the package, within the package. You can do it anywhere. Okay? Public is the modifier name, access modifier. Public, I'm just trying to write a void and a method name as test method with 2 parentheses. Okay, along with curly brackets. So curly brackets we have to write because inside this we have to write the code logic. Whatever code level logic you want to write it, write it down. Okay. Now what I'm saying, no input, no return type. That means, do I am giving some input to it? Huh? Can you see this? Any input is there? Have I given anything here like int A or int B? Anything is there? Nothing is there. This parentheses are blank. That means you can just use this method for some printing purpose, printing it on the console for some debugging purpose, for some consoling purpose. That's it. Because you cannot expect a return also. What is the meaning of return? I'll try to understand, make you understand. See this now. So this method, if I'm trying to say print what? It is a no input, no return type method, guys. Okay, perfect. Now, there are several things now. Just try to understand now. First of all, can I run the above thing method directly? Can you see this? Right click, run as Java application. Is it printing anything? No, it is not printing anything. Why? Because I have created a method, but have I called this particular method from anywhere? Huh? As I was actually calling, see this car class. Can you see this? I was calling this name, wheels, price from some objects. So in the same way, I have to what? Create an object of this particular employee class. Then only I can actually, with the help of that object reference variable, I can call these methods. Why? Now the concept comes where the methods are being going. So I told you all the variables are being going inside my different objects, a photocopy of all the objects, all the properties will be going for the different objects. In the similar way, for the non-static methods, all my methods will be going where? Huh? It will be going, or a photocopy of all the methods that I'll be creating will be going for all the objects. Means test methods will be going here also. Test method will be going here also. Test method will be going here also. Test method will be going here also. For myself, for my reference variable to use it, to access it, to fetch it. Fine. So now I understand one more thing, that all the non-static methods, a photocopy of all these methods will be going to all the objects of my particular class. Perfect. Now, what is the meaning of this? Oh, okay. Let's just try to first of all do what? Let me just try to create a object of it. I know now how to create an object of a particular class. And now see this. I don't have any properties of it, is fine. I don't have any property, no variables at global, local, no level. But as soon as I am clicking even dot, I am getting some auto suggestions. Okay. And let us just try to write T. Can you see this test method is directly coming? Why it is coming? Because I told you that a photocopy of this test method has been given to all the objects. Right now, I am having only one object, even object of this employee class. So this even employee, even reference variable can now access this test method. And as soon as I am calling this particular test method and trying to run it with the help of a run Java application, can you see this? It is now printing it. Now you can ask me, Nishant, how the execution is being taking place. I'll try to explain you in a minute how. So first of all, important concept is as I told you, execution always starts from the main method. Why is it so? See this. If I'm just trying to do this, okay, there will be no compile time error. Huh? But as soon as I am trying to run as, can you see this where Java application is there? It was there earlier, but now it is gone. So now this Java also understands that since you don't have any main method, you cannot run a particular program. And that is why you should always have a main method in a particular class to run a program. Fine. Who is calling this main method now? This is a question. This is an important question. So guys, understand JVM, Java Virtual Machine, is directly calling this main method for the execution. So JVM will be the starting point. JVM does not need any method. Okay? JVM does not need any method, any what object or the reference variable to call this main method. It is directly calling it. Fine. With the help of your main. So JVM, consider it as a class, a big class. So JVM.main, it is directly calling that main method. So execution starts from this 19th line. It is calling this particular method. It comes on the 19th line. It will see that you are creating an object. It is going to create an object. And then on the 20th line, it will see that even is now actually calling this test method. So as soon as you control and click on this method, it will be redirected to this test method. So as soon as this 20th line is being executed, it will come to the test method. It will see what you have on the 11th line. It is going to print that 11th line for you. And that's it. The code is over. Now, what if I'm saying that, let us just try to print what? I am a main method. It is a main method. Now, from how the execution will take place now, understand, see this. Now, first of all, Java will call this main method. It will come on the 17th line. This line will be printed. Then it will go on to this 20th line. Object will be created. And with the help of an object reference variable, test method will be called. And this now redirection will take place to the test method. And this value or this particular what? Your console thing will be printed on the console. Fine. This is how the execution is taking place. Fine. And this is how the main method is being called first. Fine. Now, let us come back to this thing. So, do I have any input in this case? Huh? No, no input. That means it is a no input method. What is the return type? So, guys, can you understand? Am I returning anything from here? Returning means, am I getting anything from here? Everything is being printed on the console. That is fine. I know this thing. But is that method returning anything to me? No, it is not. That's why I have to use a keyword as a void here. Void means you can consider it as a null. Okay, not exactly null, but not returning anything. So void and return keyword can never be together. Can we try it? If I'm just trying to say what? Return something 10. What it's saying? void methods cannot return a value. Fine. That means this is a no input, no return method in which I am not giving any sort of inputs here. Also, I am not expecting any sort of a return statement. So return type method means it should actually have some return statement inside that method. Fine. Now, the next interview question is, can I write in this way? It is now working fine. No error, no warning. Can I see if it is working fine? If it is getting printed the value fine or not? Yes, it is value printing fine. First main method, then it is method. Why? Because consider it. This is an exception that I can actually return nothing. This means I am returning nothing. Return what? Semicolon, that's it. No int, no string values, nothing I am going to return for you. That means I can have void with return only when I am not returning anything. Okay, guys. So understand this is all are very, very important questions interview will be asking to you. Either it will be giving you a code in this format. Now try to find exception or some errors for me. And if it is not an error, then try to print a value for me. Okay. So first of the method we understood that what? No input, no return type. Okay. Also, we understood that all the non-static methods will be going to where? Heap memory inside my object. A copy of all the methods will be going to my object. And now you can ask me, Nishant, where this main method will be going now? Since it is static, and I told you that all the static properties will be going where? To my CMA. So will this also be going to the CMA? Yes, my main method also will be going to the CMA. Fine. And not to any object level. So all the non-static methods will be going where? At my object level, at my heap level, all the static methods. If I just try to use a word, see this static for time being, this will also go where? To my this common memory allocation and not now to my object level. Okay, that's the difference, and that's how the memory management is being done with the keyword static. Okay, it is understandable now. Okay, I told you main method will be going where? My CMA. Non-static method will be going at where? At object level, heap level. Fine. More of the things from the memory allocations now. Now, for the no return functions, we can use the void. We have to use a void here. Can we use a void with a return? No, we cannot, but only in the case if I am not returning anything. Return, semicolon, that's it. I can use in this case a return statement, but except this, I cannot use it anywhere else. Okay, so return and void cannot be together, only except in one condition. Now, what is the second case? I'm saying what? No input, but some return. What does that mean? That now I'm trying to create a method for you again. Public void and test2 method. I'm saying no input, but I'm saying return. What return it is saying? Okay, understand. What return it is saying? What is the method about? It is a test2 method. I know that thing. Okay. Now, what it is expecting? A return statement. So how can I return it something? So if I'm just trying to say, first of all, that what? Get your trainer's name. Just something random. I'm saying get your trainer name. Whosoever is a trainer. Fine. Get me the trainer name. Now, if I'm saying now I am assigning a local variable, a name, and as I'm giving a value as Nishant here. Okay. And what I'm saying, return name from here. That means now I am going to trying to make this particular method with some return statement. That means I am saying that return something, some value from here. Return the name value from here. But it is giving some error to me. Why? Because I told you void and return cannot be, cannot go together. So what I have to give in place of void? So guys, I have to give the same data type which I am actually returning from here. Right now I am returning a string. So I have to use a string here. Error is gone. Everything is perfect now. So this is how the return things should work. Very important concept. Very, very important concept. People will ask you, I just don't want to, fail in this case. So I can return anything. See this. If I am saying int I is 10 and instead of what your name, I'm returning I. Can you see this? There is an error now. Why? It is saying that you're returning something what cannot convert from int to string. That you are returning an I value, integer value. How can you write string here? In this case, you have to write int then. Error is gone. Okay. So in this way, you can try this several approach. Okay, several way to actually have a return statement. This is going to work for you a lot of times. You are going to work with these methods only. Fine. Now, how to call this method? I told you, as soon as I create a method, a photocopy of this method will be going to where? All the objects. Now I have only what? One object. That is what? Your even. Can I access your test T2 also with the even dot test? Can you see this? Now it is also coming for me. Perfect, it is coming. Now understand what this is saying, that if you are calling this particular method, okay. Now see this. First of all, see this. I am not just commenting this first of all method, and I'm trying to print the calling the T2 method. What it is saying, first of all, it is going inside the main method, then it will go in your this test2 method, and it will print the 20th line. Get your trainer name. I am perfectly working fine here. What about this 24th line? Huh? I'm not getting any sort of nishant or something like this. Nothing is there. Hmm? How will I get this value? So understand, if I am calling a method which is returning something, so I have to store that value also now, because it is returning something, but I am not storing that value. Where I have to store it? I have to store inside a string variable. What is the variable name? I can take anything name or n. I can take n variable. Now, can I print the name n here directly? N value. Now see the change. See this. So this statement or this method is actually returning some values to me. I should actually catch it somewhere. Otherwise, returning statement is of no use. People do return because of several other use cases. Why? Let's suppose if I want to test it, that if condition I want to test it, like how? See this. If I'm saying that if your n dot equals what? Nishant, then do what? Try to print this value. Okay? Otherwise, else what? Else, I'm saying don't print. No, don't print. See this now. See, Nishant is printing. Now, if I'm saying that Nishant is a smaller letter, okay, will this print a value for me? Now see this, see the change. See this, don't print. So that is how this return statement is working for you. It is actually returning a name from this particular method. And now you are utilizing that name, which you have stored inside a variable n with some specifying some conditions. This is the use case, that you have some conditions to be specified. And for that case, you are returning some statement. Okay. This is the actual use case of what your return statement. Fine. I hope this is clear also now. Fine. Now, let us just try to can we have what a different method also, like test3 method, just to give you a more example of this return statement. But here I now want not to return a string, but what I want, guys, understand this thing. What is the issue with this test3? It is saying it must return a value. So for time being, I'm just making it as void. Okay. But I'm saying that I want to fetch marks of student. This I want to fetch. Perfect. Now in this, I have given some local variable like int a is equals to 10 and int b is equals to 20. And I am saying int c is equals to what? 30. And I want to print some final marks. Okay. Or not printing it. I'm just saying return final marks. Okay. Int final marks is equals to what? A plus b plus. This is some sort of a logic that I am writing. Okay. And I'm saying return this final marks with a semicolon. Now, since I'm returning now int here, what should I make it here? Obviously int. Now it is working fine. Huh? Can I call this method? Can I see this, how it is working? Now I'll just remove this particular statement, comment it down, and I'm saying what? I'm saying Now, no need of this thing also. Now I'm saying, guys, again, even dot test 3 method, you call that test third method. And how? First of all, see this. I'm just giving a semicolon here. What it is printing? It is only printing, it is main method and fetch marks of the students. But where are the marks? I told you again that since this method is returning some statement, I should catch it somewhere. I should store it somewhere. And now where I should store it right now? Since this return is giving me an integer return, so I should try to store some int variable. Huh? Now, can I print this marks? Will this work fine? See this? So this is how the things work with the return method. Okay. You can also write some logics here that if your marks is greater than 60 or greater than 50, print the statement, print the mark sheet. Otherwise, don't do this. So there are several different coding ways, coding logic you can work upon once you are having a return statement. Fine. Okay. But this is important. You have to create an object. You have to call that particular method. If that particular statement is returning, store it somewhere and use it for your use. Fine. Okay. Now we'll see what a third example. That is what your now. This is for your second. No input but some return type. Now I'm saying that try to have what third one, which is saying that I want now some input and some return type also. Okay, this is a perfect method that one should have and one should know. So what I'm saying a method is there, a void method for timing. I'm writing a void method and I want to int some numbers. And inside this, now I am giving what? Some inputs to it. What are the inputs? Int A and int B. So guys, these inputs are known as the parameters in the programming language of Java. These are the parameters. Fine. These are the parameters that I am providing to a method. Now I can write any code logic according to me. That purely depends upon the business requirement, what I'm trying to write. I'm just saying adding two numbers. Okay. And since this is a void method, should I return something? How? I'm saying int sum is equals to whatever parameters of values you will be getting at the runtime. Just try to have a sum of it and then do what? Return sum. And if I am returning an integer value, what should be there? Instead of void, it should be integer. Perfect. So this is your sum input. I'm giving it some input. I'll show you how I'm giving the input and some return type. Okay. Now, let us just try to go again and I'll comment it down. And now I'll call the method. Just a second. I'll use it as a method. Okay. I'm not using a test method since it is an add number method. So I'm using it for, see, add numbers. Now what it is expecting, guys, this is a question. It is expecting two arguments from me, two values from me, int A and int B. Can I write 23.4 and 10 here? Can I do this? See this, what it is giving me? It is giving me error. Why? It is saying that your parameters are what? Both integer type, but you are trying to enter a double value to it. First of all, so, okay, that's fine. Error is gone now. I'm giving two values to it, saying that this is my A value, this is my B value. And once you are calling this particular method, you give the same values A to 23 and B to 10. Then what you do? First of all, print this line, adding two numbers, come on to 46 line. Okay, add these two numbers, store it inside the sum, and then return sum. Will this work? See this? I'm just calling this particular method and tell me, will this work or not? See this? Where is the numbers addition? Huh? Where is that? Obviously, why it is not coming? Because I'm not storing it. Even if I am getting some return statement from this particular method, I told you I have to store it. How? Int some number I am saying. This is a variable, explicit variable I have to take, and then I am printing your some number. Now will this print? See this, 23 plus 10. So now, can you see this? What I have done? I have actually created a reusable method. Means in this particular class, thousand number of times if I want to use this particular method with any of the objects. Right now I have only one object, even. But if I am creating, see this, if I am creating E2 object also, guys, this is the reusability principle. This is how the methods are being reused. And instead of even, I am just trying to call it with the help of a E2 object. Will this work? Perfectly, it is working fine. That means I have now created a sample method, or a reusable method for you, a sort of a calculator for you of an addition method. Use it anywhere, any number of times you want to use, but the only condition is that you have to give some int value to it. So in this way, I can create some double values also. Fine. I can do that for the float values, double values, some numeric values, anything I can do that. That's up to me how I'm actually writing the business code logic. But this is the most preferable method, most used method. It is being used inside all the automation industry, all the automation frameworks. Why? Because it is expecting some parameters from your end and it is giving you some values. So this is the example of some return type and some inputs. Okay. So this is the question interview asks, that what is the use of the methods that you are creating? The concept of reusability comes that, sir, if I am actually trying to create a method, I am creating a reusable method for you. Your entire team, your different team can also use my method if they are using my project. This is the beauty of a method. Huh? Now, one more thing. What is that? I am giving some input, but now no return type. So what is the use case of this thing? Huh? See this. I am saying I am giving some inputs to you, but I'm not expecting any return. So this is also for a debugging purpose for some parameters that you are giving to this particular method, and I am only want to print it. I don't want to return some values. So I'll just write it what? Again, public void, and I'm saying a method name as print values or print names, and I'm giving a parameter as string a. Okay, this is the parameter. So parameter also, or the this values, I can assign it anything. I can give it a parameter as an integer, I can give it a string, boolean, character, arrays, array list, anything I can give in the parameter inside a method. This is also one of the use case. So I have told you an example with the integer. Now I'm telling you an example with a string. Okay. Now see this. I'm saying that whatever value you're getting from where, uh, print the name, whatever you are getting, okay, print it. That's it. That's the only use case of this particular method. I am saying print it, whatever you are getting it, or use it. But don't store it or don't return it. I don't want to have any return from this particular method. What is the use case of this thing now? Now I'll try to create a link of it. How? So I am also commenting this down for time being, and I'll be using only even for time being. Okay. Now see this. Even dot, what is test method giving me? A void. Can you see this? A void is there. So you can see from here also this, what is the return type of this particular method. First method return type is void. Second method return type is string. Third method, test3, is the return type of your integer. Fine. This is a shortcut. Without going on a method, you can actually identify what this particular method will be returning to you. Okay. Now, what I'm saying, I am actually calling this particular method test2. And what is there inside the test method? Just control click. It will make you reach to this particular method. What this is saying, that get your trainer name and return the trainer Nishant. Fine. So I have to store this value also somewhere. I am saying I am storing it again. String n2 I am saying. Okay. And now see this. I am calling the method which I recently created. This is what? Print names. And now what is the parameter I am passing it? I can do this in two ways. I can pass some parameters like Manish. Okay. Now see this. If I'm just passing a parameter like Manish, I'm just for time being. Okay. See this. What I'm first of all getting an output. I'm getting a Manish. It is a main method. Then print the name Manish. But now understand the chain now. Instead of giving this hard coded name, if I am saying that the name that you are actually getting it from this particular method, okay, you have stored it inside the n2. But wow, how about if I'm just trying to directly give the same name which is stored inside the n2 to the different method? Huh? Will this print now the name Nishant again for me? See this. See this. It is the main method. Get your trainer name, print the name Nishant. So this third line is being printed from my print values method, print names method, sorry. And how it is getting printed? That Nishant is being carried forward, or returned from this particular method, your this test second method. So this is what known as the method chaining. Also, you can consider the value that you got from one of the method is being sent directly without any hard coding to the second method, and this method is now calling this particular print's name. Perfect, perfect coding technique. So this is how you have to actually reuse your method. You have to actually pass the parameters inside the input uh, methods if it is expecting some inputs, and this is how you have to reuse your variables, the values that is being stored. Okay, so these are the four different types of methods, fine, that one actually uses, and these are, and the most permanent one is your return with some inputs. Okay, I told you the inputs are called as parameters once you create a method, but as soon as you pass the values inside it, these becomes an argument for you. Fine, you should also understand this coding terminologies, that these are the arguments if you are passing the values from the main method. But once you create a method, it becomes a parameter for you. It is expecting a parameter, not an argument. Okay. Now, one of the most important interview question is what? Why your main method is void? Can we have any other return type inside my main method? This is the most important interview question. Can I have that? Two questions are there. What is the execution point of your program? Okay. And why main method is void? Not even a string int, why it is not? So understand now. First of all, I told you JVM is directly calling the main method. Okay. Why is that so? You can ask me, Nishan, that for calling a method, we should actually create an object or a reference variable like E1, E2, E3, and then only we can actually call some methods. But I told you this is valid in case of your non-static methods. Okay. But in case of your static methods, how can we call a particular method? Same logic will apply. Either I can access them directly with the help of your method name or with the help of your variable name. Secondly, I can access them with the help of your class name. Fine. So now consider JVM is a big class for you. Need not to create any sort of an object out of it to call this main method. So JVM is directly calling this main method in this way. That's why your main method is static, so that your JVM can directly call it. Second question, why this main method is void and not returning any sort of value? Now you only tell me, had this main method returning any value, where should we have stored it? What is the use case of that? Who will be catching that particular value? Like, let's suppose if I am just returning integer 10 from here, and I am saying what? That int is the return type, and JVM is actually calling this particular method. So will JVM catch the value? And let's suppose even if JVM caught that particular value, that return type, where will it use? What is the use case of this? That's why it is always kept from the Java's end that let us keep this main method as static. Why? Because we need not to create any object for this main method to call this main method. Secondly, we need not to have any sort of return type for this main method because we don't want that values to be used anywhere. No use case. So I hope now this interview question is cleared. Why main method is static, why it is void in nature, and what is the execution point in a particular class. So this main method is only the execution point for you. Okay. So just understand one more thing. If I'm just saying that I am making deliberately this particular main method to return something, and I am saying what? Return I am writing as 10. Okay. Deliberately. No error is there, obviously. But see this. Right click, run as. Can you see this? Any Java application is now there? No, it is not there. Why? because now JVM is considering where is my void thing. This signature is not correct of this particular method. I am expecting a void main, but you are giving an integer. How should I call this method? Okay. So these are the restrictions. That's why you have to make this particular method main as always void. You cannot have them as non-void. Okay. I hope multiple things are now clear to you. What are the different types of methods we have? What is the memory management we have? Fine. In this case, all the static methods and variables are being going inside my CMA. All the non-static methods and non-static properties variables will be going inside my objects. All the local variables will now be going inside my stack. And all the reference variables like C1, C2, C3 will be going inside my stack. All the objects will be going inside my heap. So that was all from the memory management part and your methods part. Okay. So in the next session, we'll be discussing more about this return type, and then we'll be moving forward on that. Okay, I think that was all from my end. Guys, do we have any questions for this thing? Hmm? Any questions from anyone? I hope the session was clear. Most of the things have been cleared up for you. Most of the interview questions. Hmm? Okay, I think that was all from this Java's end. Let's meet in your API part. Okay. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for hearing it.